All right, camera, you were literally showing my face 3 seconds ago. Stop doing the spinning box thing. What are you doing? Stop it. Stop it. Do the thing. Turn the thing on. Just do just the thing. You can do. Really? Really? Is this how we're gonna play? Is this how we're gonna play Skype? Is this how we're gonna? Okay, we're gonna turn that off for a little bit longer. Gonna try to turn that back on again. Turn it. Okay, there we go. What the? What was that? Okay, whatever. I don't care. That was weird. That was really weird, but whatever. My face is on the screen again, unfortunately for everyone involved. But, yeah. So that was interesting.
Osei's face is here.
I wasn't talking about that being interesting. I more meant that was an interesting first half of the show. More than half, frankly.
Yes.
And, I actually...
It's kind of a whole bunch of stuff that we like to talk about anyways.
Mhm.
Politics, culture, zombie apocalypse, TV shows and books, and so it's fun.
I'm kind of glad and proud that we managed to expand our breadth a little bit. Maybe not with all the professionalism and tact of any other show on the internet, but then again, nothing can't be anything as awkward as, the vast majority of the shows that ever aired on Spreecast. So, 'cause there were some weird and creepy shows on that site.
We had some weird and creepy um, watchers when we were on Spreecast.
That's a good point. I completely forgot about that. I actually wish I didn't remember.
They they were weird and creepy, especially towards me. That was, yeah.
They left a
I
mark.
can't
They
say
left a
that
mark on your soul.
I can't say that I miss Spreecast for that reason.
I don't miss anything. Live. Anyway, so I actually have no idea. I have no idea how to actually segue into this in a more subtle fashion. So I'm just going to say it outright. So we basically, I remembered actually that last week we didn't discuss the speaking of zombies and all that. We didn't discuss the Walking Dead trailer that premiered at San Diego Comic-Con a couple of weeks back. So I figured now is just as good a time as any to actually talk about that a little bit.
Okay, well, you first. Go ahead.
That's a good point. I did very little talking, so I should probably do that. I have to admit, I was surprised at. Granted, granted, it's just a trailer, but I was surprised at the fun angle they took with it. Like that caught me off guard more than anything. Like anything in the trailer itself, like all the details and everything, it was how fun it was to watch.
Hmm.
I don't know if that indicates whether or not there's going to be a tonal shift this season or anything, though that might not be such a bad thing given the last season was so dark and heavy that like you kind of almost invariably the next season's going to be lighter by comparison just because. But that was just the thing that really stood out to me about the trailer is just how they kind of took that sort of that more lighthearted angle to it.
You kind of get the feeling that it's time for Rick's group to have another victory. It's
Hmm.
time for them to make a comeback.
Right. And I'm sure I'm sure there'll be hardship and difficulty, and they'll stab us in the heart like 4 times before the end, but and I mean the metaphorical heart, not the literal heart. They stabbed us literally in the heart. That'd be murder, and I don't think the Walking Dead producers want that at all. So just throw that out there. I don't know why you didn't stop me at any point from saying that, but
This is such a nice train wreck. I'm gonna let it go.
shut up. But anyway, but yes, I am interested to see the season though now because not that I wasn't interested before, but I'm interested to see what direction to take it in. Given how things have kind of gone, I'm interested to see if it is like lighter in that way. Like it has, like it's not just like a few islands of dark comedy in the midst of a sea of darkness, or if it's more going to be kind of like, I guess, like previous seasons were. You know,
Mhm.
that same sort. That's that earlier tone. What are you smiling at? You stop that. You stop that. You stop that and comment on the trailer right now.
Why can't I smile? Maybe I'm smiling because it was a good trailer.
Or maybe you're smiling because you're thinking about how embarrassing I am.
I was thinking about, I've seen some different promotional stuff that really features the women of The Walking Dead
Mm-hmm.
prominently. You've got, Michonne and Maggie and Carol, and for some reason they threw Tara in there because, you know,
Why?
one of
She's
these
boring.
things is not like the other. Um, uh, but I was just thinking it's kind of funny. You've got Negan who's got all the wives, and it sort of looks like as if he's going to be taken down by this group of warrior women, which is funny in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
But then, it's also funny because Tara is part of that group. I couldn't figure out why she was in there, but she
It's
was.
like, so you were defeated by someone who's kind of soft and boring. How does that make you feel?
you know?
You're just the psychiatrist. You got the psychiatrist chair. You got the psychiatrist, and then Negan's just lying down there. It's just, so, Mr. Negan, you were just defeated by someone who's incredibly dull and uninteresting. How does that make you feel?
A dull and uninteresting woman at that. Yes.
I mean,
Uh,
it's like, well, Mr. Negan, half your harem was more interesting than this Tara. How does this make you feel? Even the ones that didn't have names, the ones who were just kind of crying in the background, were more interesting
Speaking,
than
like there's
Tara.
a member of the harem that all she did in this one episode was cry, and she was more interesting.
So,
That's
at
terrible.
least two members of your harem have had more character development than this main character the secondary character in the show. How does that make you feel?
I mean,
It's almost like if
jeez.
it's like if Darth Vader got like defeated because he was shot by like Chewbacca or something. Instead of the climactic battle with Luke Skywalker, he says gets shot by Chewbacca at random. Just like, so, Mr. Vader, how do you? Ow! I just hit my table.
Oh my god. Ah, I mean,
Anyway,
like the actual mullet is more interesting than Tara's character.
you mean like the literal? You mean like literally the mullet, not the character
Literally, the mullet,
that we
yes,
nicknamed the mullet?
and not the man wearing it. Ah, I mean, it really is because we've discussed the hair. Like, why this hairstyle? Why did he choose this? To sort of reinvent himself with the mullet and the apocalypse.
Well, my hair just kind of grows naturally like this. It's like, wow, it's very unfortunate you survived this. Because
I
you
mean,
because you're gonna pass your mullet genes on to your children, assuming you have them.
like all that effort to keep this trim, and then to just stop right there.
So anyway, promotional material aside, anything else, anything for you to add about the trailer, or
um, it looks. I've read the comics, so it looks like there's going to be a scene, Shiva, that is going to break my heart a little bit.
Hmm.
But it looked as if in like this little sort of 1 second of the trailer that that might have been the scene. The scene.
I see. Interesting. I guess we'll have to see.
I am very interested to see what happens with Maggie and her baby because it appears as if she's going to be a real leader now. And, you know,
Baby's
I
gonna be
just,
born. It's gonna
that's
be wearing a general's uniform.
Maggie and Carol are probably the characters that I am most interested in this season.
Mm-hmm. With good reason too, I imagine.
You know, it's not because they're women. It's not, you know, it's just that those are the two that have kind of sort of had the most character development,
They've
I think,
traveled in the way they've traveled the furthest
you
in their
know,
own ways.
over all of the previous seasons. And now they are in a position to really impact the way that, you know, uh, the group moves forward. So
Right.
I'm very interested to see what happens with those two. They better not just kill them.
I feel like Maggie's safe. Carol, on the other hand.
Yeah. We were kind of predicting Carol's demise at the end of last season
Mm-hmm. But it did not turn out that way.
though. I'm
In
not sure if
fact,
Daryl's terribly safe.
if you really think about it, in order to kind of reinforce the whole hope point at the end of the season, the fact that they really didn't kill off many people at all, kind of is telling.
Yeah. You know who else is going to be an interesting character to watch is Morgan because
Mm-hmm.
he took a little detour through Crazy Town again.
But seems to have come back,
Hmm.
and
He's kind of like he has dual citizenship in Crazy Town in reality. So I yeah, that's interesting. I think for that character.
on the other hand, the influence of Ezekiel has helped a lot with kind of keeping him from going completely off the edge.
Yeah. Yep.
Jerry. Anyway,
Okay, as far as leaders, Ezekiel versus Rick, who do you think is the better leader?
that's actually hard to say. In no small part because we've seen so little of Ezekiel compared to Rick, and Rick's journey as a leader is like the whole one of the whole points of the show. Um,
Hmm.
so I honestly think that's a really really difficult comparison to make. To the point where I would say that I think that neither is really better. It's just they're different kinds of leaders, and that's sort of it's it's kind of brought them and it's that's none of those words are what I wanted to say. What in the world? What in the world? Me? Anyway, I'm not trying to dodge the question either. I'm saying I'm like I sincerely believe that I don't think one or the other is really better. Like I might give the edge probably to Rick, but even then he's most certainly had his moments of bad leadership too. Because Ezekiel of course spent so much of his time kind of waffling on the savior issue, because he was afraid of getting his people killed. But that's an understandable thing for a leader to do, even a good leader.
He had more people to consider too.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm gonna say neither really. They're both. I would say they're both good leaders, just in their own unique ways.
I do think they're both good leaders. In some ways, I get frustrated with Rick because I feel like at this point there are just things that
He ought to be
be
more
a little
decisive.
he should be more decisive and a little wiser about, and he's just not.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting the garbage people, for instance. Um, yeah, and then those instances where he really should be decisive and he sits there and waffles, you know. Um, but you know, I I can't say for sure that Ezekiel is a better leader just
Right.
because I haven't seen as much from him. I don't know.
Yeah, again, it's kind of hard to judge, to be honest, just because we've just simply seen more of Rick's journey than we
Mhm.
have of Ezekiel's.
And I just think that Rick sometimes should be better, but
That is informed by experience.
know.
All right, so finally for this episode, we want to discuss something a little more serious. The Charlie Gard case, frankly, because that's a difficult one. I really haven't heard any much of opinion from you on it, so I'd rather you take this first. I already have like mine in mind, so.
Well, frankly, it really ticks me off. It really ticks me off that both the healthcare system and the courts decided uh, that, despite the fact that it would have cost the crown or uh, the sort of healthcare system in Great Britain, it would have cost them nothing for the parents to take the baby to have, um, the the treatment, whether or not the treatment had any kind of guarantee to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's their child. It was their money. It was their time. And frankly, I think those parents deserve to put their child to rest knowing that they did everything they could. And the fact is that the government stood in the way and did not allow them to do everything they could to save their child.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it really ticks me off that they weren't even allowed to take the baby home to say goodbye in peace. Um, there was just, at no point was it their baby that they got to make decisions about. It was having decisions forced on them because that's what someone else thought was best.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're talking about a situation where the decisions being made for the parents would actually benefit the child, would actually in some way save the child, then you might have a case.
Mm-hmm.
If the parents are the ones who are impeding the process whereby the child might get some sort of health care or treatment to better their lives. Um, yeah, but in this case, that's not what happened. And it just, honestly, as a parent, it absolutely infuriates me.
It's definitely very grim because I thought that I thought actually that Michael Brown had an interesting article on this. He was responding to a column from Britain actually that talks about how the American right kind of sort of overreacted to all of this, and it's interesting actually because it does give a tiny bit of perspective in the sense that in the sense of how some things worked over there and so forth in regards to this case. But it never really addresses the fundamental question. Not just the matter of parental, basically the matter of parental rights and choosing even an expensive long shot treatment over simple death. You know,
Hmm.
it's like because the thing is that like a lot of detractors of people who are like who like a lot of detractors of people who wanted Charlie Gard to get whatever care he could, with all this money raised and everything. All the detractors of people always seem to miss the always seem to be constantly seem to be missing that basic fundamental questions. Where are the rights of the parents in regards to the treatment of the child? And okay, sure, the child has a very slim chance of, has a very slim chance of growing up. Frankly, why should that stop us though from trying? Why
Right.
why would that
You
stop
have
you?
a slim chance and you have certain death.
Right.
And, you know, why is it, and that's really what it comes down to, why is it the right of the government or the hospital to say that you can't even pursue the slim chance? You need to accept certain death.
Mm-hmm. In fact, let me actually look for it because there was a quote there that was actually kind of troubling that bears repeating. Let's see, there it is. Click on that because I'm thinking about it and what does it say? It basically says in this section of the article, what does it say about human life's value? Third, I believe the hospital doctors are motivated by great compassion for Charlie and deep concern for his parents. Still, there remains this troubling statement made to the appeal judge by Katie Gollop, who led the hospital's legal team. There is significant harm if what the parents want for Charlie comes into effect. The significant harm is a condition of existence which is offering the child no benefit. She added, it is inhuman to permit that condition to continue. I wrote about this as well, asking, how else might fall into that category? Other handicapped children, the elderly with severe dementia, the mentally ill, what other conditions of existence should be terminated as well? This remains a major question for me, a question not answered by Philip's article. To the contrary, reading the statement from the hospital more fully, the question is only intensified. As stated, after a brain episode in April, Charlie's been has been in existence devoid of all benefit and pleasure. If Charlie has had a relationship with the world around him since his best interests were determined, it has been one of suffering. The hospital felt the treatment would not help. They were concerned it might make things worse. They felt Charlie was suffering and now could be suffering more. Therefore, they insisted he not receive such treatment. And that's the troubling aspect of it, is that they're basically determining that Charlie Gard's life wasn't worth living and it wasn't worth trying to fight for.
Right.
And I think that Dr. Brown is right on some level that they were motivated, that the hospital on some level was motivated by compassion, but it's the same sort of twisted compassion that animates a lot of what people like a lot of like people do these days, you know?
It's the same twisted compassion that says, that it would be better to abort a child than to let it grow up impoverished.
Yeah.
I mean,
And bear in mind, I'm not even saying that
it's the
Michael Brown
kind of
agrees with
twisted
that necessarily.
compassion that completely ignores, the inherent value of human life.
Yeah, it's a dark case all around, and just another symptom of the times, I suppose.
But I mean, as a mother, it would be hard to live with the fact that there was something that offered even a slim chance, and I didn't even get the opportunity to explore that.
Mm-hmm.
That basically my child was taken from me because someone else decided that my child's life was really worthless.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's not what I would deem compassionate.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, we want to thank you for watching this episode of Nerd Rage.
Wow, so we're just gonna go straight out on that sad note.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
No, we can't do that. That's awful. people with a terrible taste in their mouth.
Well, maybe they should leave on a note where they're thinking hard and deep about
Thinking hard and deep.
the world we
Wow.
live in. Did you almost turn that into a dirty joke?
No, no, I didn't. Gosh darn it, Ose, get your mind out of the gutter.
Uh-huh. Sure. Anyway.
I just want to point out that I have an adorable kitty sleeping on the couch behind me. She's been there as moral support, and
I'm sure that's why the cat is there, and definitely not because it's a cat. And cats just like to lounge.
she cares. She cares about my well-being.
You keep telling you keep telling yourself that. Anyway,
Also, yeah, this sort of fits in some way with everything we've discussed, but check out my shirt. It says, "Tell me another story about freedom."
so anyway,
Now we can go out on a better note.
if you enjoyed the episode, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Also, check the links in the description below for links to our social media pages. You can follow Shannon on Twitter at
Limbus_N_coffee. You'll also find me on Instagram as Limbus and Coffee.
You can also find me as at Osceronphaer, OSCRONPHAER. It's weird
Where
because
you follow gaming stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I kind of got confused for a second there because I started mixing things. I started mixing different links in my head. You can also follow me on YouTube with the same name for gaming channel and related nonsense. Also, be sure to check out our actual main website, fullfrontalnerdery.net, which we usually neglect, but occasionally someone remembers to write something. Very occasionally. And we will catch you next week for more shenanigans, less guests, and even more shenanigans.
And stuff and things.
And that. Until next week, everybody.
Good night. Or good morning, or whatever.
We're gonna fix that.